We were just talking earlier at the top of the show about Just Stop Oil and their latest suggested shenanigans. We've got the panel back here, of course, as well. But here's what Just Stop Oil want to do. They want to go to airports and they want to occupy them. They want to storm through the terminals. They want to cycle on the runways. And they want to kind of generally disrupt everybody's summer travel plans so that they don't go anywhere. Candice is back, Madeleine as well, Laura as well. I mean, I did a piece at the top of the show about the problem is we've got now these protesters who don't really care about what they're protesting about. They'll just protest about anything. You know, most of them are not going to change. You know, we had the poll tax riots. At least people actually believed in getting rid of the poll tax. You know, when we had people demonstrating for free school fees, for free university fees for foreign students. I actually marched on that one when I was a student. You know, I mean, you actually had people doing trade union marches when they wanted something to change. But these people don't want anything to change. They just want to march around and make nuisance of themselves.
No, they do want to change things. They want to make everything worse. The thing about the poll tax riots is it was to make it was genuinely kind of communitarian. It's to make life better for people being taxed unfairly. Whereas Just Stop Oil wants us to go backwards to some sort of awful medieval neo-feudal time where we don't have anything good.
No, but
like
my
holidays.
point is they kind of know that that won't happen. So why do they keep doing it other than just to be a nuisance?
Oh, they're fanatical, though. I mean, they are absolutely fanatical. They have absolutely no regard for anyone else but themselves. I mean, we were just talking as well, talking in the break now about that woman from that Palestine action group who just slashed that painting.
Yeah.
That's just fully narcissistic, zealotry, iconoclasm. I mean, she doesn't care about anyone else.
That's not going to have any effect on what's going on in the Middle East. That's kind of my point.
I actually think that it's certainly in the case of Extinction Rebellion and Just Stop Oil, they have a funny way of choosing their targets.
Yes.
They very often go for things that affect ordinary people who are trying to get to work. They go for the London Underground. Now it's
which doesn't help their
people's
cause.
holidays holidays. They even went for the snooker one time. You know, they go for things that are deliberately is invasive and a sort of like there's a real puritanism to it. It's the idea they want no one to have any fun because they think that their cause is so important. It justifies literally any behaviour, and it's very similar to that Palestinian protest.
But of course, for me, it's only good when they want to do it. So if Tarquin and Phoebe down in Tunbridge Wells don't, if they're a bit busy this weekend, they're not going to bother. It's not like they fundamentally believe in doing it. They just do it when they fancy doing it.
And is that contempt for the public? It is almost contempt for ordinary people, that looking down upon them, upon all the trashy, horrible, world-destroying things that they do.
But they're hypocrites with it as well. I mean, it's all very kind of how to lose friends and alienate people. Let's make ordinary people hate us. Let's ruin their holidays. Pet her at Crofts this week.
Yes, in fact, I think
let's go for the dogs. You know, everything we love, let's disrupt that. But at the same time, Extinction Rebellion activists go on fancy holidays. They've all got these posh names. They still drive diesel cars, loads of them. There was a farmer who found Just Stop Oil fly-tipped loads of their rubbish after a protest. You know, they go to Pret and use their reusable coffee cups. They're just like everybody else. They just don't want us to have a good time and get to work.
But that's my point, is they're not really changing anything. They're just
I don't
being narcissists.
I've seen no signs that the public has moved at all since they began this particular campaign. In fact, quite the opposite.
Yes.
You know, I think there is actually a growing appreciation in the country that some of the initial net zero targets were unachievable and that technology wasn't there. And although people are very concerned about the environment and particularly the kind of natural environment, things like water.
Well, the rivers, I think, is a genuine cause. I think most people would like to see the rivers.
MPs will tell you they get more letters about bees and hedgehogs than almost anything else.
Oh, that's
but I don't think that has dissipated. But this kind of like technocratic pie in the sky eco-lunacy that is being preached by these people, I don't think that's where the public is at all. I just think their antics make people very, very angry.
We just had Stanley Johnson going on about the rivers, but he sort of segued off into, joining up with all these European Union directives on all sorts of environmental changes that we should be making. And I think he's wrong about that. People don't want that. You go to the Red Wall, and if Boris Johnson, we are led to believe, is going to be somehow spearheading, get the Tories back in the Red Wall, they're not going to want to hear about environmental improvements. They're not going to want to hear about, let's rejoin some of the European Union regulatory agencies because they were so good. Are they?
No, that's not really in tune with voters. It is interesting, though, with things like clean water, it's true. You'll find, actually, there is a lot of public support for that sort of thing. But, I mean, what Just Stop Oil and Extinction Rebellion wants, I mean, that is a very small group of fanatics who might be very comfortable living that way. They might be.
But they don't.
But the vast majority of people aren't. I mean, someone like Roger Hallam might be very, very comfortable with a very basic existence somewhere in southwest Wales. Well, but that's not what the rest of us want.
Yeah.
Some lunatic cultists are always going to be happy in their cult, especially when they're heading it with their weird personalities.
Right.
Most of them don't really want to stop their foreign holidays or drive cars.
Of course they don't. Absolutely.